Okay, there's the Aquarium of the Americas. Now, this is the city of New Orleans. It's practically impossible to go park anywhere. And I don't want to pay to go park over at the Weston parking garage. But it's all back up and running. My wife and I were just over there a couple weeks ago. Expensive as all hell. But you know, these tourists, they got some money. Well, they used to anyway. We came over there, waited 3 more hours after getting kicked out by the administrators over there, because they were all having the same problem everybody else was. Their sewage was backing up. All the fish were dying. They had problems with what power they could generate. Now this is Canal Street. Only half the street was flooded. This portion of Canal Street comprises more of the Crescent City, and it was a much higher ground. This is also where all the news media vans, CNN and Fox, were all located. They're right here at the corner here of Decatur, North Peters, reporting live. Here's the fire department that I assisted to come and get their equipment after the hurricane. Okay, once Mark Rice disappeared and we lost radio contact, a few of us decided to take matters into our own hands, and we had heard that the police had found a good place to stay over at the Hampton Bay Hotel, and they were all over there barbecuing the food that they had taken out of the kitchen quarters there. So we loaded up all the equipment again, tired as we were, and headed down Convention Center Boulevard again, which was now starting to get a little more crowded with people. Now, a few days after what I'm talking about, thousands of people were here, and there was trash strewn about, just huge gatherings of people, especially at this corner here at Julia and Convention Center Boulevard. Quite literally, it was something it's hard to describe. People in wheelchair, and just crowded swarms, trash everywhere, piles of it, 2 feet high in some places. Okay, so we came down here. Okay, here's the entrance. It's kind of difficult to show you here. But here's the Hampton Inn and Suites, where New Orleans EMS and the police department relocated themselves on a Tuesday night. And at this location, like I said, they were out here at this entrance here barbecuing. We located up on the 2nd floor. There's a pool up there where we got cleaned up in. Yes, we use it as a bathroom. Anyway, when Mark Rice came out over the radio and said we need to get out, and we came out here, and the last of the police cars took off and left us alone. It was the middle of the night, completely dark. We all gathered at this corner. And this right here is also where we stopped that cargo truck that was loaded down with electronic equipment, and we were going to use it to get across the Crescent City connection, which is what Mark Rice was screaming over the radio for us to do. We decided against doing that activity per the supervisors, and we then gathered up all our small equipment, and pretty much anybody that had a gun or a weapon was wielding it at this point. Frustrated, angry, we proceeded down Convention Center Boulevard towards the HOV access and went up that ramp. And that's also where Charlie Brown had the worst of his hypertensive crisis. Had broken down. We had to get him across the bridge and assist him across it. Said we walk this way. There's the Crescent City connection. Okay, that's HOV lane that we took. By the way, this is also where the New Orleans EMS has relocated since Katrina. It was underneath the bridge. Okay, that's the Crescent City connection that the paramedics in New Orleans crossed at 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, post-Katrina. We were met at halfway point right there by the Jefferson Police deputies. They asked what we were doing. There were quite a few people up on the bridge in the dark. We don't know what they were doing up here either. But this crosses into Algiers, onto the west bank of New Orleans. And we didn't know what we were heading into or where we were going. Once we proceeded to cross the bridge, we went down to the toll booths because they had reserve power. Or reserve lights down there, but they also had a really bad housing project off to the right here, which has been torn down and replaced by a similar type of community that I showed you earlier at St. Bernard. A very dangerous community, lots of drug dealing, lots of poverty. So we decided to stay around the tolls until we could get some further communication, see what was going on, where we were to proceed to from there. We never did get any communication on the radio. However, the New Orleans Fire Department heard our call and raced down General de Gaulle with all their fire trucks to come get us. I would say at this point, the New Orleans EMS was at its lowest in morale, emotions. The tolls that we all gathered at, jumped on the fire trucks, headed down General de Gaulle towards the east. Fire department had taken over Our Lady of Wisdom. Excuse me. Now, the West Bank didn't suffer near as much flooding, at least not around these parts. But there was a lot of wind damage. Of course, power poles down, those big ones right there were all knocked down. Trees were in the road, various debris, fences, and off to our left here was a large, either a Presbyterian or Baptist church, but it had easily a 50, 60 foot tall steeple, which was completely knocked off and laying on its side. Off to our left there were some more projects, another area of the city that's seen a lot of poverty, a lot of crime. And all those people were still here, and they took advantage of the opportunity with police resources stretched or absent altogether and going around and looting homes. I mean, a lot of places over here were looted. This is where the educational department used to be for the city. It's since relocated.